biology world. In previous video, we have to discuss about the type of leaves. There are two type of leaves, simple leaves and compound leaves. And we also discuss with the compound leaves have two types, palette and palpate. So today we have to discuss about the modification of plants. Modification of leaves. In various purposes, the leaves also modified, like climbing, supporting, protection, food purpose, etc. Same way, the root and stem part also modified. The leaves parts also modified for the various purpose. So now, first we discuss about the modification of climbing purpose. Modification of climbing and support. In some plants, stem is weak. In some plants, stem is weak. So the leaves are form coil-like structure which is known as tendrils, and these tendrils are help to support and climbing purpose. In pea plants, the best example is the pea plants. The stem are very weak, so the leaves are modified into coil-like structure, that is tendrils. It is tendrils, and these tendrils are helped to support and climbing. It is same modification of the stem system. So the best example is pea plant. Now, second modification is modification for protection. In cactus-like plant, leaves modified into spiny thorns, and these thorns are held to the defense purpose. Defense or protection purpose. We all see the cactus plants. In cactus plants, small spine-like structure is present, and these spines are held to the protection against the defense. Now, third modification is modified for food purpose. For storage of food purpose. In onion and garlic like plants, the leaves are fleshy. Leaves are fleshy and help to the storage of food, which is edible part. In garlic and onion, we have to know that very much leaves are present in surround them. So these leaves are collection of the storage of food, and it is modified to the leaves portion. So we have to eatable portion of the garlic and onion. It is the part of the leaves which are converted for the storage of food purpose. So onion and garlic modified for the storage of food. Cactus are modified for the protection, and pea plants are modified for the support and climbing purpose. The Australian acacia Australian acacia is a very much best example of the modification of leaves. acacia, the leaves are short-lived. So the petioles are expanded and have chlorophyll pigment. So it is look like green color, and these petioles are modified into photosynthesis. Students, you have to know what is petiole. Petiole is the part of the leaves. So, in Australian acacia, the leaves are short time for leaf. So, the problem create is the photosynthesis. Very much short leaves are present and photosynthesis are also required. So, this is the problem, and these problems have to very much create in Australian acacia. So, in this situation, the petal of the leaves are modified into expanded and have chlorophyll pigment. And chlorophyll pigment is present. This portion is totally observed like green color. And photosynthesis chlorophyll pigment is present. So, the petioles are function to the photosynthesis. So, Australian acacia, the petioles are modified into photosynthesis purpose. In besides this, the insectivorous plants, insectivorous animals like insectivorous plants. In insectivorous plants, the pea fly capture plants, Venus plants also are the modified for the attraction purpose. So, this is the topic of the modification of leaves. In examination, you have to ask in 3 marks question, write down the short note on modification of leaves. So, you have to write modification of climbing and supporting, modification of protection, modification of food storage, and Australian acacia. Now, the next topic of this chapter is inflorescence. Students, it is very much interesting topic and also asked in examination. So please very carefully understand. Inflorescence. Students, you have to know that plants have 2 main parts, root system and shoot system. And we have to study that root system is formed from the radical portion of the germinating seed, and shoot system is also from the plumule part of the germination seeds. So, in formation of the root system and shoot system, they have 2 main parts, root apex and shoot apex. The pointed and the last portion, this is known as apex portion of root and shoot both. So, these apex system in shoot system are modified into flower. The apex system or the shoot meristem, or the apex portion are converted into floral parts. Floral parts means the flowering parts. We have to know what is the flowering part. Calyx, gynoecium, androecium, it is the flowering part. So, the shoot meristem or the apex portion are converted into floral part and produce the flower part. Now, the arrangements of flower on floral parts, it is known as inflorescence. How to situate flower in floral parts, it is known as inflorescence. जो फ्लावर का बेस है उस पे फ्लावर्स कैसे है वो सिचुएटेड होता है, उस पोजीशन को और उस टर्म को हम इन्फ्लोरेसेंस कहते हैं. सो द अरेंजमेंट ऑफ फ्लावर ऑन फ्लोरल पार्ट्स, इट इज नोन एज इन्फ्लोरेशंस. दिस इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ इन्फ्लोरेशंस. The inflorescence have two types of inflorescence we have to study. First is racemose inflorescence. In racemose inflorescence, the apex portion is continue grow and the flower are arranged in both the side. See, the apex portion is continue grow and the apex portion do not converted into flower, but both the sides have criform flowers and these flowers are arranged in acropetal manner. The apex are continue to grow. Second one, the flower born of two lateral sides and these flowers are arranged in acropetal succession. So these are known as racemose inflorescence. Students, the main word is acropetal succession. What is the acropetal succession? So in the base to the apex portion do not converted into flower and the flower are arranged into like this. First जो base का portion है वो फ्लावर स्मॉल, उसके ऊपर का फ्लावर है वो उससे बड़ा, फिर उससे बड़ा और फिर उससे बड़ा. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ अरेंजमेंट्स आर नोन एज acropetal succession. The base portion the flowers are small and the top portion the flowers are big. So this type of arrangements is known as acropetal succession and these arrangements are shown in racemose inflorescence. The totally opposite of the second inflorescence, that is the cymose inflorescence. In cymose inflorescence you have to show the apex portion is converted into flower. Both the side the flowers are born and all the branches have to converted into flower, so the growth is stopped. In racemose the growth is continued, but in cymose the growth is stopped because the apex portion are converted into flower. The apex are converted into flower, so the growth is stopped and the flowers are arranged in basipetal succession. See, this type of arrangement is known as basipetal succession and this type of arrangement is known as acropetal succession. So there are two types of inflorescence, cymose inflorescence and racemose inflorescence. The main word in both the inflorescence is basipetal and acropetal form. In inflorescence, the apex is converted into flower parts and these flower portion are arranged in floral parts. It's known as inflorescence. So in examination you have to ask, write down what is inflorescence and write down its type. So you have to write in definition and two type of inflorescence. Students, you have to know that 21st July is your first term examination, and in examination we have to include it first, second and eighth, the living world, biological classification and the cell. These three chapters are included in your term 1 examination. So now prepare well. We have to also given a question bank. In every chapter we have to give the notes also. So prepare very well. In next week we have to go the totally of the first, second and eighth chapter revision. So please read carefully. If any doubt you have to ask and solve your doubts. You have to also message me and solve your doubts. But in term 1 examination you have to get very well marks. So prepare well and all the very best.